it's Di here from Di's Den, and welcome to another video. This is the last one I'm going to be doing in this series of the diamond folds. This is a DL size one and it stands up really lovely. It's a little bit narrower obviously and taller because of, well, it's the same height as some of the others, but it's it will fit into a DL envelope and I really love it. This one I did as a Christmas card. And the next one I'm going to do is just as a birthday card. So I will show you how to make this. Now let me show, I'm going to be using an old set. That's now, I believe it's now retired or it's in the last chance. I'm not sure which. It may have already retired. Or Hearts of Elegance. Along with the paper that went with it, which I've used up the last of. So I can't show you what that was like. I'm using Melon Mambo here. And I'm using the Love You and what was the other words? Sending Lots of Love. Now I've actually done all the stamping, so you won't need to watch me stamp. But this is the card, and as I say, it stands up nicely, and because it's got that one in the middle, it's nice and rigid, so which is what I like, you know, where the first one I did was very floppy. And so this one is a little bit more sturdier strength wise. So let's pop that out of the way and let me show you what you need. Now I've already done a lot of cutting out and I've also done a lot of the sticking things together, so I will show you a few tricks as we go along that I have picked up along the way. So let's start. So we need a piece of card that is an A4 sheet minus the 1/4 inch on the side. So this is 11 3/4 by 8 inches. So all you're going to do is on an A4 sheet you're going to cut this to 8 inches instead of 8 1/4. Okay, then you're going to need another piece of the same colour, and this piece measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Oops, you can't see that on there very well. Okay, so now we're going to need 4 pieces of card. Now I've done 3, so we don't need to watch me do all 4 of them. That measure 7 3/4 by 1 5/8. So you'll need 4 of those, and 4 that measure 7 1/2 by 1 3/8, which will go on there like so. You're also going to need 4 pieces of squares, even though you see like you've only got 2 squares here. The other 2 squares is where I've put on the back for your writing panel, because to me I need somewhere to write in a card, and I wanted it to look like it was part of the same card, not just somewhere you've decided to write. So that's why we've got the 4. So we've got 4 of these that measure 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 inches, and then you're going to need, oops, let's move that off of there, 2 that are in DSP that measure 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Now I've already done 1 of each. That's that one and that one. So that one goes with that. And then you're going to need 2 white pieces. So when you do that, that will go on there for your writing panel. Okay, then you're going to need 1 piece that is 3 by 3. And another piece of designer series paper that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I've cut out the heart out of this set, which is this pretty one. Isn't that beautiful? I love that pattern on there. And I've also, I stamped this saying, and then I cut it around so that it will fit on there without taking too much away from the actual beautiful heart. So let's put all these on one side and we will go on with what we need to do. Now, that was just telling me what piece of card. If you're using a heart the same as what I did, my heart is a 2 1/4 inch across this way by 2 inches long. So my piece of paper was 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So that can go in the bin now. Alright, so we're going to start on this piece here. So let me bring in my scoreboard and we'll get cracking. I need my little thingamajiggy. Okay, so we're going to pop this into the scoreboard on the long side, and we're going to be using the small ball because we're using cardstock, and we're going to score this at 1 7/8 of an inch. So 1 7/8, and then we're going to score this at 3 7/8 of an inch, and then we're going to score 7 7/8 and 9 7/8. So we'll go through it again: 1 7/8, 3 7/8, 7 7/8 and 9 7/8. We're then going to mark this along the top at 5 7/8 of an inch. So we're just going to put a little mark there, top. Then we're going to turn it around because it's exactly the same as that, and we're going to mark that again at 5 7/8 of an inch. Just a little notch like this, top and bottom, so that you can then do your other score lines. So now we're going to turn this on the side. Now I like to use a ruler for this, but this is entirely up to you. And we're going to score this at the 4-inch mark. So I like to put my styling tool, my scoring tool, into the centre there, and then line that up so that I know that that's then straight. And then we're going to score from the first score line, which is the 1 7/8 score line, through to the 9 7. Oh, we can't see my hands right down here. Through to the 9 7/8 of an inch score line. So let's do that scoring from there through, like so. So if you can see that now, it's not a very good colour to be doing this on, is it? You've got 1 7/8, 3 7/8, 7 7/8 and 9 7/8, and then from this 1 7/8 score line through to the 9 7/8 score line, you've at 4 inches down, you've got another score line. So I'm going to actually score that again because it's really not a very good score line on there. So I'm going to pop that in there and give that another score. We are going to cut that eventually, but it's better that you've got that score line there first. It's easier to put all the other score lines in before we cut this. That's my preference. Okay, so we're going to use our ruler again, and we're going to score from the 1 7/8 mark at the top down to the 9 7/8 mark at the bottom. So we're going to pop that in there like so, and we're going to score that right across the whole section like so. We're going to turn that. I'm going to put it this way because it's easier, and we're going to do it from the 9 7/8 mark at the top down to the 1 7/8 mark at the bottom. It's very yucky light in here today, so we're going to score that right the way through like so. So you now have, and that should be right in the centre of that score line. So if it's not in the centre of that score line, that means your little thing is not quite in the middle, or these are not quite lined up. So I'm actually going to mark this a little bit higher now. And I'm going to turn that over, and if it's showing on this side, you can actually rub it out with your bone folder. So we want the one that is at the 4-inch mark, or right in the centre there. Okay, so maybe I didn't cut this piece. Oops, let's see. No, that's definitely at the 18-inch mark. Okay, so now we've got our score lines like this. We're going to start at this 5 7/8 mark, and we're going to mark down to the 4-inch mark here on the diagonal. And then we're going to do exactly the same at the bottom. So from the 4-inch mark here, we're going to then mark it down to the bottom like so. So now you should have like a cross through the middle of this one here and through the middle of this top one here. I'm going to turn it around. Well, we can to do it the same way, I guess. And we're going to do exactly the same again. So now we're going to do on the opposite way. So I actually find it easier to do it this way. We're going to mark from that 4-inch mark up to the 5 7/8 mark. So we have another cross here, and we're going to do the same on this end here. So we're going to bring this one down, and we're going to score that from that 5 7/8 mark up to the 4-inch mark. So now you have a piece of card, and if you want the written tutorial for this, head over to Diane for Stamping Crafting Tutorials. You will find the diagram showing you where to score everything. Okay, so we've done all our scoring. We're now going to bring in our cutting board, and I'm going to cut along that 4-inch line between the 1 7/8 and the 9 7/8. Just along that one line. That's the only place we're going to cut. Right along that line. Through the whole bit. So we're only joined up now. Let's move that out of the way. At the 1 7/8 to the end and the 9 7/8 to the end. Okay. Once we've done that, we're going to do all our folding. So all of our vertical lines, these ones, are all going to be valley folds. So we're going to fold it and burnish it. Fold to the next one and burnish it. Now I find it easier to turn it this way. So fold it and burnish it. Fold it again and burnish. So all of those lines are now there. Now because we had that other line in the middle there, don't worry because you will not see that because of the way the things are on the top. So now we're going to pinch on the diagonal as a mountain fold. Now I find it easier to lay it over and burnish it as I go. So I'm going to do all of one way first. So these are all mountain folds. Oops, let's move that bit out of the way. And bring this one over. And once we've done that way, we're going to then do the opposite way on the other diagonal. I find by doing the burnishing at the same time, you know that they're going to be right. And all you've got to do is pinch them and you'll find that they actually go nicely, like so. So let's do this end. And one more, this one here. Okay, so now we've got all of those. We've actually virtually got our card made. So where you'll see that these ones are starting to push in here and here. So we're going to push them in and bring that up to form that diamond shape. Do the top and the bottom and bring it in and then fold it down nice and flat like so. And then burnish under each one of these diamonds, and then on the top of it you'll find that they actually go down a lot easier if once you do this. And we can give it a good squish over the top as well. So we do the other half, bring them down. Then a good squish over the top, turn it over and squash down or burnish down from the other side as well. This will help to keep it into nice shape. As you can see, we've got our main shape now. And see, if we didn't put anything in the middle, look how floppy that is. And to me, I don't like floppy cards, but that's just me. I mean, you might not want to put your one in the middle, but That's what we're doing, like so. Okay, so now we have our 4 pieces of card that are 7 3/4, oops, by 1 5/8, and 7 1/2 by 1 3/8. Now, I found, and I did this from everything else but this one piece, didn't I? Yes. I found the easiest way to do this, and I'll just go and get my tape because I forgot it. I actually thought I had actually pre-done this for you. Right, because I'm putting it onto mirror card, or you can get this sort of card that's like has the glitter on it. This is the best way I found, and I've only learned this by watching other people, and this is what they recommend using, oh excuse me, double-sided tape. Pop your double-sided tape onto the back of your piece that you're going to stick onto your mirror card or your glitter card. And I'm pretty sure I did it on all the other pieces, but not this piece. That's a bit silly. That's because I did my preparation work the other day for this card while my husband was doing his exercises, because this room here is actually his gym as well. So we'll pop them onto there like so. By doing this, let me tell you why. When you pop this on here, if you've got to move it around, you're not going to get smear marks from your glue. So we're going to pop that back, one on one side, one on the other, and then if you've got another one in the middle, just down a little bit further, like so. Line this up nicely at the bottom where it's going to go, like so, making sure that it's nice and even all the way up where it's going to go, following it all the way up, making sure these stay out the side. If you're happy with that, pop it down at the top there. It's going to stay in place. Rip one down, 2 down, 3 down, and it will stick down nicely in place like so. And that's what I've done with all of those, because I'm onto the mirror card. So these are all going to glue onto here on the top and the bottom and the back. So because this side is not mirrored, I'm going to just use normal glue. And I have used non-directional, so I'm actually going to pull this out because it's easier and you can see what I'm doing of better. If I've got directional, I've got to be careful which way I cut it, and I've got to be careful which way I pop them on. But because I have no direction on my DSP, I don't have to worry too much. Oops, there goes my pin in the glue. For the glue into the bin. Turn it over, and I'm going to do the same. Now if you've got directional, turn it this way so that you know that you've got your direction the same way. Okay. And as I have no direction, I'm not worried which way up these go. Okay, so we've got our sides on. That's made it nice and sturdy on the side. I'm going to put my writing panels in the back before I do the front, because then I can build up and I'm not going to find it hard to get into the back for putting my writing panels in. So I've already done my stamping, and this one you stamp on the diagonal. So this is going to go in the top here. This one is going to go into the bottom here. So as I say, I've put the tape on the back of this one. Because this is only small, I'm going to actually pull all the tape off. And I'm going to be able to lay that on there gently and watch where it goes to pop it down nice. And as you can see, you don't get glue oozing out the side. And I will glue this onto the back. So I have my saying at the top and my writing panel piece in the bottom one. If you want it the other way around, that's fine. There's no ifs or buts about that one. It goes whichever way you like. Just make sure if you've got a directional paper that you put your words in the same direction as your paper so that it all works out with each other, because you wouldn't want this up the wrong way to your words. Okay, so I've done my inside. We'll work on the front now. So for my front panels, I have my two squares to go on the top. And again, as you can see, I did this and I didn't do that long bit. That was a bit of a dumb one, that one, wasn't it? Well, that one's not going to come off of there very easily. Let's start the other end. Oops. And once again, I'm going to do it along the edge which doesn't have as much, so if I need to move it, I can. Oops. Like so. I'm putting all that in the bin, and I've got to take it all out because I need to find a bin for my glue. And I'm going to glue these onto the front. Now I didn't bring any embellishments over here, did I? Oh, I think I might have. I don't know what I did with them. And we can glue that one nice and tightly onto there. And this one, and once again, having a non-directional paper makes putting the diamonds on an angle much easier. Okay, so we have our two diamonds on here. Now I do have my embellishments there down there. I can see them on the floor. They've fallen on the floor. This one I've actually already done the same. This is the bigger square. This is the 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 with the 3 by 3 and the 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and I've actually done the tape on the back of this one as well. So let's pop them in the bin, not on the floor. And once again, just pop this on there nicely. Happy with that. We can glue that to this one. That's better. Okay, so once we've done that and we work out which way up we want to put this, it's going to sit on here. But we want to put this on with some dimensionals. So let's get my dimensionals from over here. And we're going to work out, so if you know that you want it, say that way, particular way, just make sure you turn it over and you put your dimensionals at the top and the bottom like so. And then I'm going to put one either side because this is quite bulky, wide, and it will fit onto here nicely. But we want to make sure we get one right in the corner there like that. Okay, so once you've done that, you could put another one here if you wanted to, because of that's going to be down and up here like so, but that's enough for me. It's going to be sturdy enough. You're going to close that down nicely, and you're going to pop this into the middle. So we know this is 8 inches. So if we put this on the 8-inch side like this, we could actually measure that across the 4-inch mark if you wanted to be really pedantic with it, but so I'm not going to be really pedantic with it. So I'm going to hold it up like this, and I like where it is. So once I'm happy with that, I can press down like so. So there we have our middle one in there, giving this the nice stability that we need. We're going to pop a little saying on top like this, and I'm going to get those things from down on the floor that had fallen down there. So I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals as well. And pop that into the middle. Once I'm happy with where it is, I can press that down nicely. And then I am actually going to just stick that on there like so. And I'm going to do that with a bit of tape across the middle, so that I don't smudge it. And if that looks like it's coming off the edges, which it's not a real lot, I'm going to just leave that like that as they're coming off the edge. I'm just going to pop that off there and pop him onto the middle of my card. Let me bring it a bit closer so I can see what I'm doing off. Okay. Happy with that. If you feel like this bit here is hanging off a bit longer, just get another dimensional. And I've got little ones here, so I'm going to pop one underneath that end, just so that it doesn't get bent upwards. And that's our card. Oops, we don't want that bit. And I have these are called champagne rhinestones, and I believe these have finished now as well, but they go really lovely with this card. So I'm going to pop a couple of rhinestones, champagne rhinestones, onto this card to finish it off. And that's our card for today. So what do you think? I do love the way it's turned. It's turned. I'm dropping everything today, aren't I? Excuse me, and I've got a frog in my throat. I do love the way it's turned out. It does look pretty as a Christmas card, and it does look pretty as a birthday card. So if you're happy with that and you've really liked my tutorial, don't forget you can get the written tutorial for this by heading down the bottom here and going to Die Stand for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. That's my Facebook group. You must answer the question to join the group. I don't like declining people, but if you can't answer the question, I do decline you. But you can try again and get in there and do the right thing. So if you would like the written tutorial for that, head down there. If you'd like to be part of my team, I would love to hear from you. You do have to live in Australia, unfortunately, to do that. And I will see you all again next week. Bye for now.